John Hale never expected anything exciting to happen on Station 14. It was the kind of forgotten refuel point that sat on the edge of human space, silent, dusty, and ignored. Cargo ships rarely stopped here, and military ships never did. John spent most days fixing small shuttles, checking fuel lines, or repairing old station doors that liked to get stuck. So when the alarm rang that morning, an alarm meant for incoming unidentified craft, John almost dropped the toolbox in his hand. The small station shook as something crashed on the landing pad outside. John froze for a moment. The crash had been close. Too close. He grabbed his emergency jacket and ran for the outer bay doors. His boots hit the metal floor fast as he sprinted through the narrow hallway, every light flickering above him. Dust fell from the ceiling panels. Whatever landed wasn't small. When he reached the doors and they slid open, a cold blast of wind hit his face. The station sat on a barren moon with no real atmosphere, so the landing area was sealed by a transparent shield dome. Through it, John saw the ship. It was like nothing he had ever seen. Long, sharp wings curved back like blades. The hull was matte black with glowing silver lines running across the surface like veins. Smoke rose from the left engine. Sparks jumped from a broken panel on the underside. It looked deadly even while damaged. And standing beside it was someone even more unbelievable. A tall figure at least 7 feet stood on the landing pad. The armor she wore shimmered like liquid metal. Her posture was proud and rigid, like a warrior ready for battle. When she turned toward him, John realized she wasn't human. Her eyes were bright silver. Her skin had a faint metallic pattern on it. Her hair looked like thin strands of crystal, glowing softly in the dim light. John swallowed hard. She was alien, and she looked annoyed. The moment she saw him, she marched across the landing pad with strong, confident steps. Her armor clicked softly as she moved. John instinctively stepped back, hands raised in a harmless gesture. "Human," she said, her voice deep and resonant. "Are you the engineer of this outpost?" John nodded quickly. Yes. I'm John Hale. I fix things." She studied him like she was unsure if he was truly real. Then she spoke again. "I am Commander Velara Tashen of the Korai Dominion. My starfighter has suffered sabotage. I require repairs immediately." John blinked. "Sabotage?" He looked at the ship again. Now that he was closer, he could see deep scorch marks near the engine. The damage didn't look accidental at all. "Well," John said, trying to keep his voice steady, "I can take a look, but I've never worked on a Korai ship before." Velara tilted her head slightly. It wasn't confusion, more like she was judging him. "The technology is advanced," she said. "I do not expect a human to understand it fully. But attempt the repairs. I will observe." Wonderful, John thought. A giant alien warrior watching over my shoulder. No pressure. He approached the ship and opened his toolkit. The metal of the starfighter felt strange beneath his fingers, smooth like glass, but warm like skin. When he opened the damaged panel, he expected to see circuits far beyond his understanding. Instead, the layout was surprisingly logical. Different, yes, but understandable. He started working slowly, testing each part, checking energy output lines, and comparing them to patterns he recognized. Velara stood behind him like a silent statue, arms crossed, eyes glowing softly. "You learn quickly," she said after several minutes. John shrugged. "Machines are machines. They all speak the same language, if you listen long enough." She didn't reply, but he felt her eyes on him as he repaired a damaged converter module. Something about the damage didn't sit right with him. He checked it again. The wires weren't just burned, they were cut. "Commander," he said, "you said sabotage. Are you sure? Because this doesn't look like an accident." Velara stepped forward. "I am certain. Someone attacked me from within the Dominion." John looked up at her. For the first time, She didn't look annoyed. She looked troubled, but only for a second. He tightened the last connector and closed the panel. Engine should start now. But there's more wrong. Your ship's AI core didn't respond when I tried to run a basic check. Velara stiffened. That is impossible. The Sage's core cannot be disabled so easily. Well, John said carefully. It's offline. Or hiding. She moved past him, placing her hand on the hull. Silver light spread from her palm. John stepped back as symbols appeared across the ship's surface. The ship remained silent. Velara slowly turned to John. You restored partial energy flow, she said. Yet the core still does not answer. Human. How did you manage that? I rewired it? She stared at him. Really stared. Then something strange happened. Her expression shifted. Not anger. Not confusion. Recognition. Human John Hale, she said slowly. You have fulfilled the 3 marks of worth: technical insight, steadfast bravery, and honesty under pressure. He blinked. Okay? And that means what? Exactly. It means, she said, standing tall and proud again, you meet the requirements of a Korai battlemate. John froze. What? A chosen life ally, she explained. One warrior may name a single individual in their lifetime to stand beside them in all conflicts. You have proven worthy. She placed her fist against her chest in a formal gesture. I claim you as my battlemate. John's jaw dropped. I was just fixing your ship, he protested. I didn't sign up for any ancient alien traditions. Velara didn't seem bothered. Tradition or not, the decision is made. She nodded once. Firm and certain. Prepare yourself, human John Hale. My enemies will come for me soon. And now, they will come for you as well. John stared at her. A quiet mechanic on a forgotten outpost just became the chosen ally of a towering alien warrior involved in a galactic betrayal. This was not how he expected his morning to go. John Hale had been many things in his life: station mechanic, quiet worker, problem solver, expert, coffee drinker. But he had never been hunted. And he definitely had never been hunted by an alien empire. Yet here he was, standing beside Commander Velara Tushen as warning lights flashed across the hangar walls. The station's scanner alarm suddenly screamed through the speakers. Incoming vessel, unknown signature. John felt his stomach drop. Velara's armor shifted subtly as she straightened, her silver eyes narrowing. They found me faster than I expected, she said. John blinked. Who found you? The traitors, she replied calmly. Korai Purifier Forces. They will not allow me to survive. And since you repaired my ship, they will not allow you to survive either. John stared at her. So your enemies? Want me dead too? You are now my chosen battle ally, she reminded him. My survival is tied to yours. John pinched the bridge of his nose. I literally met you 20 minutes ago. Velara didn't smile. She didn't even blink. Enemies approaching, the station AI announced. Unregistered. Military craft. Weapons. Hot. A distant boom shook the outpost. John turned to Velara sharply. What do we do? We leave, she answered. Immediately. She strode toward her repaired starfighter. John hesitated, glancing around the small station he had worked in for years. He had never left Earth's reach. Never flown in anything more advanced than a cargo shuttle. Now, an alien warrior was telling him to get on a ship that probably had enough firepower to erase a city. He supposed this was what adventure felt like. Mostly confusion and panic. Velara opened the cockpit, then looked back at him. Human John Hale. Enter. Act. Velara. John took a deep breath and climbed in beside her. The cockpit was small. Clearly made for one pilot. Definitely not a pilot, and one nervous mechanic, but he squeezed in anyway. The controls lit up at Velara's touch. Symbols danced across the screens. Sage's core remained silent, she muttered. Unacceptable. Maybe I can help. She glanced at him. You already helped. Now stay still. The ship lifted off the ground, humming like a living creature. Through the transparent dome of the cockpit, John saw the hangar doors opening. Hold on, Velara warned. And then they shot forward. The starfighter blasted out of the station with a speed that crushed John into his seat. Stars streaked by. The station grew smaller behind them, but not fast enough. A sharp alarm beeped. On the scanner, John saw it. A large Korai gunship emerging from the darkness of space, its hull glowing red like a rising ember. That is not good, he whispered. Velara calmly responded, correct. The gunship fired. A beam of energy sliced through the space behind them. The shockwaves shook their ship violently. John grabbed the side panel to keep from flying into the controls. Can this ship outrun them? John shouted. Yes, Velara replied, if the engines hold. That does not comfort me. The gunship fired again. This time, Velara rolled sharply, and the beam missed by inches. John forced himself to breathe. He didn't know what to do. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a pilot. He didn't even know what half the glowing symbols in the cockpit meant. But Velara's voice was steady, controlled, focused. Do not fear, human John Hale, she said. I have survived worse. That's great for you, John muttered. I'd prefer to survive at all. The gunship kept pursuing, closing the distance. Velara tapped several controls rapidly. But the ship's engine display flashed an orange warning. Sabotage damage is deeper than I thought, she said. We cannot outrun them. John felt a cold dread hit him. So what do we do now? We fight. His eyes widened. Fight? With what? Velara pointed at the weapons panel. This ship contains plasma lances, pulse cannons, and seeker rounds. However, she pressed a button, and the whole panel flickered. Half of them are offline. Great, John said. Perfect. Wonderful. He stared at the broken panel. Sparks flickered from one of the connectors. Something wasn't right. He reached out and tapped the display. A few symbols blinked. He looked closer. His mechanic instinct kicked in. This isn't broken, he said. It's blocked. Velara shot him a sharp look. Explain. The sabotager didn't just damage the engine, John said quickly. They disrupted the weapon's energy route to the firing system. But I think I can reroute it. Velara's eyes glowed brighter. Prove it. John took a deep breath and began working. The controls made no sense. Alien tech, strange patterns, unfamiliar symbols, but he treated it like a puzzle. Energy lines, flow patterns, power direction. Machines always spoke. You just had to listen. Suddenly, the panel flickered and turned green. Velara checked the readout. Pulse cannons online. John threw his hands up. Ha! Did it! Before he could celebrate, Velara fired. Twin blasts of white-blue energy burst from the wings, crashing into the gunship's shields. The enemy vessel staggered from the impact. They will retaliate, Velara warned. And retaliate they did. A barrage of burning red projectiles shot toward them. Velara twisted the starfighter sharply. The cockpit spun. John felt the world flip sideways. One projectile clipped their wing. The ship jerked. Alarms howled. Wing stabilizer damaged, John yelled. Velara didn't flinch. Hold it together. You hold it together. I'm trying. The gunship loomed larger. They were too close. Then Velara pulled a move John didn't think was possible. She cut the engines. For a moment, everything went silent. The starfighter drifted weightlessly. The gunship overshot them. Confused. Then Velara reactivated the engines at full power. The starfighter shot upward like a dart. The enemy gunship passed underneath them, perfectly lined up. "Human John Hale," she said. "Fire." John stared at the weapon's control. "You want me to?" "Yes." John swallowed hard, took aim, and hit the firing switch. The pulse cannons unleashed a powerful blast that struck the gunship's exposed top hull. A second shot broke through the weakened shields. The gunship exploded in a bright flash, its debris scattering across space. John stared, breathless. He had just fired alien weapons. He had just survived an attack by an alien warship, and he had just saved both of them. Velara looked at him with a calm, firm expression. "You see," she said. "You have value in battle." John let out a shaky laugh. "I'm a mechanic, not a warrior." "You are both now," Velara replied. Then the communicator beeped. A distorted voice came through. "Korai purifiers to Commander Tishen. You cannot run forever. We will find you. And you're human." John froze. They weren't safe. Not even close. Velara's armor shifted as she straightened. "We must find the truth," she said, "and reveal the betrayal to my people." "And me?" John asked quietly. "You," Velara said, looking directly at him, "are my battle ally. You will stand with me. Are my battle ally." John stared forward at the stars. An ordinary mechanic no longer. Now hunted. Now chosen. Now part of something far bigger than himself. He wasn't sure if he was ready, but it was too late to turn back. For the next several hours, John Hale sat in the co-pilot seat of Velara's starfighter, staring at the star map glowing on the screen. Lines of silver light stretched across the galaxy as Velara guided the ship through quiet, empty space. The engines hummed softly, a calm sound compared to the explosions they had escaped earlier. John finally broke the long silence. "So, let me get this straight," he said, rubbing his forehead. "Your own people tried to destroy you. They sabotaged your ship. They sent a warship after you. And now they're chasing us across the galaxy." "That is correct," Velara replied without looking up. "And your plan," John continued, "is to go. Where? Straight into another Korai base?" "A hidden archive," Velara said. "A station used only by council members. If there is evidence of the conspiracy, it will be there." "Oh, I'm quote." She spoke calmly, as if this was all normal. To her, maybe it was, but John's heart still felt like it was trying to escape his chest. He took a deep breath. "And what if we get caught?" Velara turned her head slightly, her silver eyes glowing softly. "Then we fight." John slumped in his seat. "You always say that like it's easy." "It is not easy," she said. "It is necessary." Before John could respond, the ship's AI panel flickered. The screen lit up with a faint digital pattern, almost like a pulse. "Sage's core?" Velara said in surprise. A voice, weak but present, filled the cockpit. "Commander. Diagnostic. Incomplete. Recovering." John blinked. "Your AI is alive?" "Barely," Velara said. "The sabotage wounded it deeply." The AI's voice crackled. "Energy flow. Restored by unknown source. Identifying. Human John Hale." John sat straighter. Yes. That's me." Statement. "Your repair work prevented total system collapse." Velara glanced at John with something close to approval. "You saved the core." John rubbed the back of his neck. "I just patched wires. You did more than that." Velara replied. Before John could argue, an alarm beeped softly. "Sages, status of our destination," Velara commanded. The AI processed the request. "Hidden Archive Station Theta is within 2 hours of travel. No active patrols in the region." "Good," Velara said. "We arrive unseen." John wished he shared her confidence. 2 hours later, The archive station appeared out of the darkness, an enormous, floating structure shaped like a ring, its metallic body covered in faint blue lights. It looked abandoned, too quiet. John stared at it through the cockpit. This place gives me bad feelings. It should, Valara said. The archives hold secrets, many of them dangerous. The starfighter landed gently inside the docking bay. The interior was dark, but emergency lights glowed along the walls like dim torches. John followed Valara out of the ship, staying close behind her. Her armor's faint metallic glow helped light their way. "Is anyone here?" John whispered. "No," Valara said. "The station is automatic. Only council members come here." "And the council includes the traitor?" "Yes." That did not comfort John. They moved down a long corridor. Their footsteps echoed. The air felt cold and dry, as if the station had not seen life in years. Valara stopped at a large door marked with Korai symbols. "This is the Central Archive," she said. "We must find proof of who ordered my assassination." She placed her hand on the panel. The door opened with a deep rumble. Inside was a huge circular room filled with floating data crystals, glowing screens, and silent machines. It looked ancient and advanced at the same time. Valara approached a floating console and began entering commands. The screens reacted, displaying streams of alien text. John watched her work. Fast, precise, sure. "Your technology is incredible," he murmured. "And dangerous when misused," Valara said. A sudden error symbol flashed across the screen. "Access locked, high authority required." John frowned. "Can you override it?" "No," Valara said. "This level is accessible only to council members." John looked around, spotting a maintenance hatch near the floor. "Maybe I can get around it. Maybe I can get around it." Valara raised an eyebrow. "Explain." John walked to the hatch. "Back home, when a system is locked from the top, you don't break the lock. You slip in from below." He opened the hatch. Inside were energy conduits and small circuit nodes, different shapes, but still familiar in concept. Valara watched him kneel beside the hatch. "You are attempting to bypass a Korai high-security system." "Yeah," John said, with a wrench. She stared at him for a long moment. Then, surprisingly, she nodded. "Proceed. A. Workfivity. Anwan. Anwan. Anwan." John smiled slightly. "Thanks. If something explodes, I'm blaming you." He worked carefully, connecting nodes, redirecting power lines, and tricking the system into thinking a council member had requested the data. After several tense minutes, the console beeped. "Access granted." Valara stepped forward immediately. "John, you succeeded." He wiped sweat from his forehead. "Told you. Machines talk." The archive loaded several files. Images and recordings appeared, including holograms of Korai officials. Valara scanned each one. Then she froze. "Here," she said. A hologram of a tall Korai elder appeared. His armor was marked with the crest of the High Council. His voice was calm and cold. "Commander Valara Tishen has become a threat. Her influence over the outer fleets grows. She must be removed quietly. Her ship will be sabotaged before her next sortie. No trace must remain." John felt anger boil inside him. This was worse than he imagined. Another recording followed. "And ensure that the human outpost near her patrol route is destroyed afterward. We cannot risk witnesses." John's heart stopped. "They plan to kill me?" he whispered. Valara's expression hardened. "They planned to kill many, humans included." The final recording showed a digital map. Red lines traced attack routes toward human space. "They intend to start a war," Valara said, "blaming humans for my death." John stared at the map. "We have to stop this." Valara turned toward him, her voice strong. "Yes." And we will. We. We. Suddenly, the lights in the archive flickered. A harsh mechanical voice echoed across the room. Unauthorized access detected. John's eyes widened. That's not good. Velara moved protectively in front of him. The purifiers have been alerted. The floor vibrated as doors slammed shut around the station. John felt his fear rising. They're coming? Yes, Velara said. And we now hold proof that can save both our peoples. She looked directly at him. Human, John Hale. Are you ready to fight again? He nodded, even though his legs felt weak. Yeah. Let's finish this. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a hero. But he was finally starting to understand why humanity always survived. They refused to give up. The archive station shook as heavy footsteps echoed through the metal corridors. John Hale felt his heart pounding fast, but he forced himself to stay calm. Velara stood beside him, tall and silent, her armor glowing dimly in the flickering lights. The purifiers are boarding, she said. We must escape with the evidence. John clenched his fists. And how do we do that when we're trapped in here? Velara pointed to a side passage leading away from the archive. A maintenance route. Quickest path back to the starfighter. Stay close. John followed her as she moved swiftly through the corridor. Behind them, the archive doors burst open, and metallic voices echoed through the halls. Commander Tishen, surrender the human and the evidence, John whispered. They really don't like us. They fear truth, Velara said. Truth is stronger than any weapon. They reached the maintenance passage just as the enemy footsteps grew louder. Velara pressed her hand on a small control panel. The door slid open, revealing a narrow tunnel filled with pipes and cables. In here, she said. John crawled inside first, the metal cold beneath his hands. Velara entered behind him, sealing the door. The tunnel was dark, but faint blue light from Velara's armor helped guide them. Where does this lead? John asked. To the lower docking bay, Velara replied. Our ship is there. John kept moving until he heard a distant clang above them. Velara stopped. They are cutting through the ceiling, she said. What? John hissed. Why aren't they using doors? Like normal people. Korai purifiers are not normal, she replied. Move faster. John pushed forward, his breath quickening. The tunnel ended at a vertical shaft. A ladder stretched upward into darkness. Velara gestured. Climb. John grabbed the ladder and began climbing, his arms burning. Velara followed, moving effortlessly despite her heavy armor. Halfway up, the sound of metal tearing echoed through the tunnel. John looked down. A circular section of the tunnel's ceiling had been sliced open. A purifier soldier, tall, armored, and glowing with red markings dropped inside, looking up at them. Velara, John whispered. They found us. Yes, she said calmly. Keep climbing. A red beam shot upward. John flinched as it passed dangerously close to his feet. Move, human, Velara called. John scrambled up the ladder, his hands slipping with sweat. He reached the top hatch and shoved it open. Bright lights spilled in. He pulled himself out, gasping for breath. Velara emerged right behind him, then turned and fired a quick blast from her wrist device into the shaft. The purifier soldier below roared as the tunnel shook. Go, Velara ordered. John didn't argue. The docking bay. They burst into the lower bay where their starfighter was waiting, engines still warm from the earlier flight. The docking area was huge and dimly lit. The silence felt unnatural. John stopped suddenly. The bay wasn't empty. 3 purifier soldiers stood between them and the ship, their red visors glowing in the shadows. Velara stepped forward, blocking John with her arm. Stay behind me. The purifiers spoke in unison. Commander Tishen, you are accused of treason. The human must be eliminated. Velara raised her chin proudly. I accuse you of treason. Stand aside. They didn't. The first purifier charged forward with inhuman speed. Velara reacted instantly. She dodged to the side and struck the soldier across the chest with the back of her armored fist. Sparks flew as the purifier hit the wall. The second soldier fired a red energy blast at John, who jumped behind a crate. The blast scorched the floor where he had been standing. Velara, he shouted. I'd like to not die today. Then do not stand in the open, she called back, kicking aside another attacker. John peeked out and spotted a loose cable near the floor. An idea struck him. He grabbed the cable and yanked it free, causing sparks to shoot out. Come on, he muttered. A third purifier approached him. John waited until the soldier stepped close, then touched the cable to the metal ground. A burst of electricity shot across the floor. The purifier froze, armor crackling, then collapsed. John blinked. Whoa. That actually worked. Velara dispatched the last soldier with a quick, powerful strike. She turned to John. Your mind is your strongest weapon. And panic, he added. Panic helps too. No, she said firmly. Courage. Before John could argue, alarms blared again. More purifiers were approaching fast. Velara grabbed his shoulder. To the ship. They ran across the bay, entered the starfighter, and sealed the cockpit. Velara immediately began powering the engines. Sages, status, she commanded. The AI responded. Stronger than before. Engines ready. Weapons semi-functional. Enemy forces closing. Launch now, Velara ordered. The starfighter rose off the ground and blasted out of the docking bay just as purifier soldiers stormed in behind them. Once outside, John saw 2 enemy gunships approaching from different angles. Seriously? He groaned. Do not fear, Velara said. We have the truth. That is all we need. Truth doesn't shoot laser beams. No, she said. But it ends wars. She accelerated toward the first gunship. They dodged incoming fire, weaving through burning debris. John, Velara said suddenly, you must broadcast the evidence. Broadcast, he blinked. To who? To everyone. John's eyes widened. As in, the entire Dominion? Yes. Connect the archive files to the public channels. John swallowed. I'll try. He opened the panel, his fingers moving fast as he navigated through alien code. The purifiers fired again, shaking the ship violently. Hurry, Velara said. John connected the final link. Broadcasting now! A pulse of energy shot from their ship, an information wave carrying the recordings of the council members' betrayal, the sabotage orders, and the plan to start a war with humans. Velara smirked. They cannot stop the truth now. The gunships hesitated. Their weapons lowered slightly. John stared. Does that mean they're not going to shoot us? Velara nodded. For now. Suddenly, the communicator lit up with dozens of incoming transmissions. Korai citizens, officers, and even high-ranking commanders demanding answers from the Traitor Council. The conspiracy was collapsing. Velara turned to John, her expression softening for the first time. You have saved my people, she said. And yours. John exhaled slowly. We did it. Together. True. Yes, she said. As battle allies. The danger was not gone. There would still be trials. Still be repairs. Still be diplomacy. But John felt something new inside him, strength he didn't know he had. Velara looked at him with steady eyes. Human John Hale. Today you proved that humanity is not weak. You are courageous, clever, loyal, and worthy. John smiled. And you're not too bad yourself. The starfighter drifted quietly through the stars as the galaxy changed around them. A mechanic and a warrior, an unlikely pair. a bond forged in danger, and a future waiting to be written.